What I've got here is a shredder I bought about 5 years ago, I guess. Shreds 12 sheets at a time. The problem is it sat on top of a little bucket. It wasn't even the size of a 5-gallon bucket. It was maybe a 2-gallon bucket. You have to empty the thing constantly. It gets kind of tiresome to have to empty something all the time. I don't like to do it. I don't like to stop what I'm doing to empty a garbage can. So I figured I'd find a way to mount it on a bigger garbage can that I could put a 33-gallon liner in and shred to my heart's content. Empty one big bag at the end. So I took it off the top and I figured this little slot down here is like a kill switch. So it's not, if it's not sitting on the factory bucket that has a little tab that goes up in there to tell it it's sitting on there, it won't shred. So you got to bypass that first. So I'll take the top off this thing and show you what I did inside to get past that. As you flip the unit over, this unit in particular has 5 screws. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Some of them are pretty deep down in those little holes. It requires a smaller tip screwdriver to get to them. Every unit's made different. Sometimes the screws will be on the side. Just got to figure it out. They're not too hard. It's a shredder. It's not an airplane. So figure out how it comes apart, get it apart, and figure out the kill switch. Alright, first thing you want to do, obvious thing, unplug your unit. You don't want to electrocute yourself taking these things apart. There's not much to them. The shredding mechanism, the little motor that runs it all, the circuit board that tells it to go forward and reverse or stop. This little switch over here, that's the kill switch that tells it whether it's sitting on top of the bucket that's designed for this unit. These are the 2 wires that go to it. Simply clip them off and tie these 2 wires together and put a little, I guess I call them wire nut, household thing. That protects the wires from touching anything else, keeps them held together. Let me do that and be right back. Alright, so you tie your wires together, zip tie it up so it doesn't come over here and get up in your motor. Or, I don't think it could reach over here, but just as a safety thing, kind of keep it out of the way. Now you bypass your safety switch. Not the best idea. I wouldn't suggest anybody go out and do this, but this is what I did. Kids, don't try this at home. That's pretty much all you have to do to bypass the stock bucket that this thing sits on. So now you can put it on whatever bucket you want, turn it on, and no matter what you do, it's going to shred paper. Whether it's on a bucket or sitting on the floor, you stick a piece of paper in the top, it's going to shred it because it doesn't have a kill switch. Let me mount this thing back on my bucket and I'll show you what I did. Oh, one quick thing. You want to look inside here because you're going to have to run some screws to attach something that's going to span across a bucket. It's going to have to be wider to fit on a bucket. So you got to look and see where everything is, see where your tolerances are, where you can run a screw through it without hitting anything. There's a lot of areas you got to watch out for, some wires over here and the circuit board over here and the motor over here. But the back over here is pretty well fair game. Got some side space over here. If you're really careful, yeah, you can come through there. Just be super careful on where your screws are. So we'll do that and we'll come back. So what I've done here, taken a couple pieces of flat steel, drilled a little hole in them, screwed it through. The top screw up here I had to watch because that's where those wires were. But if you're careful, watch what you're doing. Kind of drill a hole before you put the thing back together. Tap a screw in it. They're kind of flimsy, but since it's going to rest on top of these, this just has to stay in place. That's what the screw is for. You're going to take your unit, stick it on top of your garbage can. Now you can shred to your heart's content. It's going to fill up a 33-gallon bag of shredder material. Anyways, have fun, be safe. It's not the smartest thing to do to bypass kill switches. But if you want to be able to fill up a bigger bag without having to empty the small little box underneath it all the time. That's the way I hacked my shredder, so that I could shred more without stopping so much. If you do something like this, be safe. Don't forget to subscribe and like. Thanks very much.